Hello, everyone. You're welcome. Great to have you. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. So we have people joining in. Tobiloba Williams, good to see you. Dolapo, good to see you. Carol, Precious, thank you for joining in. You're very time conscious here. Try to start as soon as we can. It's 4 p.m. West African time. Hello, thank you, Carol, for dropping a message. Please, we encourage us to be conversational. Say hello. Our panelists are already here. Davida is in the room. Ibukun, Omololu is in the room. Both looking gorgeous, ready to dish, you know. I know, right, Davida? Good to have you here. Welcome.
Awesome. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah,
really awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, participants. You're welcome. If you don't mind, you can drop an emoji for the panelists, for HerVest. Let us know where you're joining in from. We are transmitting from Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. So while we just wait for a few more people and then we start the program proper. You don't intend to take much of your time, but make sure that every second is worth it. Good to have you here. Muibat, Esther, you're welcome. Carol from Lagos, hello. Okay, do we still have Ibukun on this call? Okay.
Oh yes, I'm here. I can see you.
Oh, great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, clearly, crystal clear. All right, so we're 19 participants. I think once we have 20 people in the room, we just go ahead. Hello, Temitope from Lagos. Thank you for joining. Oh, Temitope even dropped an heart emoji for us. Isn't that gracious? Thank you. Thank you so much, Temitope. Thank you. God bless you. Okay. You're welcome, everyone. So we've got 21 participants. I think it's okay to start, just so we don't delay logged in participants. It's okay to share at this point. That is, share the invite link. It's okay to share and invite as many women as we can. Trust us to have a beautiful evening here. We encourage that you keep your microphone mute. Be conversational. It's a conversation. It isn't a lecture. So we encourage conversations, we encourage questions, we encourage activity in the comment area, but nothing that distracts our panelists. Good evening, everybody. My name is Solape Akinpelu from HerVest, and thank you for joining in this beautiful Sunday evening. It's quite hot if you're in Lagos here, but we thank God we can feel the heat, right? Only the living does that, isn't it? Okay, so we'll just go straight in. We are here to discuss retirement planning for women. I'm sure that maybe some male folks or some people will be wondering, okay, is it any different? Why discussing retirement planning for women? Why not general retirement planning? If there's any man in the house, can assure you that you take learnings even from this, and then from our learnings to, please, let's extend it to our male allies, as we call them. It's okay, as I said before, to invite our friends, girlfriends, nieces, aunts, sisters, cousins to join this conversation. Is going to be quite interesting this evening. My name is Solape Akinpelu from HerVest, and we have a panelist here already, the two delectable women, Davida Echetabu and Ibukun Omololu. So I'll just quickly run through the probably the shortest form of their profile. Excuse me. All right, I'll quickly introduce Davida. Davida is a certified wealth management professional with over 13 years collective experience across the banking and wealth businesses of Stanbic IBTC Group, the blue people. She has successfully challenged, supported, and enabled high net worth clients towards achieving financial and retirement plans. Davida basically says that, it gives her a lot of fulfillment seeing 3 millionaires CEO retiring, to the lifetime of their dreams. It's a pleasure having you, Davida. Davida, you're welcome. Davida is the Regional Wealth Manager at Stanbic IBTC Pensions. You're welcome, Davida.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm honored and I appreciate you and HerVest for having me here on behalf of Stanbic. Before I go any further, I'd like to just mention my colleague, Precious Christian Nayalugo, is also on the call. And she's just here to give me moral support, if you know what I mean.
Thank you, Precious.
Thank you, Precious, for joining.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Sister love. Thank you, Precious. Thank you for joining me, Precious. Awesome. Glad to have the two of you here today. And thank you to Stanbic IBTC Bank for the amazing work you're doing out there. And of course, for allowing you to join us to do this, to have this conversation. It gets tough at times, but we must have conversations like this. So I'll quickly introduce Ibukun Omololu as well. Ibukun, IBK. So I don't know if you've been following our Global Money Week activities. IBK has been sharing, leading, and having great, amazing conversations around money, getting access to funds, grants, personal finance basics, and all of that. And Ibukun is here, showed up beautifully here today. Ibukun, we really appreciate you. To quickly introduce Ibukun, Ibukun is the immediate past head one-woman proposition of Sterling Bank, which achieved a 100% uptake of gender parity culture bank-wide at Sterling Bank. Ibukun is a big promoter of financial inclusion for women, having trained over 800 plus women in financial education in the EDC Cherry Blair ExxonMobil Road to Growth program. That's one amazing feat. Over 800 plus women. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Ibukun.
Thank you, Solape. It's been a pleasure doing this with you all through this week. I've had so much fun. I am so glad to meet Davida, who's also here. So I look forward to starting up the conversation and hearing from the women as well.
Awesome. Yes, I have.
Thank you.
Hearing from the women is good too. It's not a one direction conversation. So we'll go straight in. We have more participants now. So I want to believe that if we have enough women to start with. Right. Studies say that only 1/3 of women think they are well prepared for retirement. Like if you ask women, do you think you're sufficiently prepared for retirement? Only 1/3 will tell you yes. Okay. And often, in reality, even those 1/3 are often not as well prepared as men. Okay. That is when you look at numbers, and probably their current lifestyle. So basically, we want to examine some of the reasons why women fail to prepare or fail to adequately prepare. The key word being adequately. It's one thing to prepare and it's another thing to be half prepared. Am I correct, Ibukun?
Yes, you're spot on.
Okay, awesome then. So Davida, basically, before we just, get running, what exactly do you consider retirement planning, or what exactly is retirement planning, Davida?
Okay, so hello everybody. As Solape had introduced me, my name is Davida Echetabu, but please feel free to call me Davida, Vida, or any other variation of the name that sounds cute and sounds nice. I'll be good. All right, so just a minute. I see something pop up on my screen. All right, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can, Davida, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, perfect. Now, what is retirement planning? In a nutshell, it's planning for the life you want to live after you have left your active employment. So right now, most of us, if not all of us, are actively working to, earn our incomes either by salary, either by dividend, whatever it is that we do for our means of livelihood. That's what we're doing with our active years. Now, retirement is often associated with the older people, as our strengths technically begin to wane, we're getting older. We now consider that period of life as retirement. So legally in Nigeria, retirement age is set to kick off from 50. There are people who have said they want to retire early and they've put up structures in place, so from 45, they can retire. It doesn't mean they're not doing stuff, but it means that they have set up structures such that they can afford to get out of this daily grind, so to speak, in a manner of speaking. So that is retirement planning, being deliberate about the type of lifestyle you want to have at the end, and then taking the necessary steps to achieve it. So I hope, just to keep it simple, that is retirement planning in a nutshell.
Thank you, Davida. And a part struck me, and that is the retirement early part. So it's okay for me to say, you know what, I want to retire at 40, say 42, 45. Isn't that overambitious, Davida?
No, it isn't really. It may appear overambitious in this part of the world and maybe in Nigeria specifically. But people can say, you know what, I'm in paid employment now. I want to retire from paid employment and focus on my other talents, my other passions that could bring me in other income. So they're retiring from one aspect doesn't mean they're tired. It just means that they're retiring from this particular grind and they want to be committed to another phase of their lives. So retirement in itself is not, so to speak, growing old and sipping pina coladas. It's about another phase altogether, another chapter altogether, where you would determine the pace you want your life to take. If you want to, keep at the wake up at 5 a.m. grind, or if you've set up enough structures to say, you know what, I want to start my day at 9 o'clock, I want to work till 3 o'clock, I want to go, as we all make it to be. Again, remember the word, the plan. So what's the plan? We always say start with the end in mind.
Okay.
So in place to achieve what it is we want.
I hear that. So what you're saying basically is that retirement could be, say, you want to retire from an active 9 to 5, maybe from being an employee to being an employer. Is that a form of retirement planning itself? That's what I heard you say.
Yes, I mean, retirement planning is very unique to each person.
Okay.
So there are people, traditionally we just hear, for instance, our parents worked, and then I think there's some feedback coming in, but I'll continue nonetheless. Our parents worked all their lives in their jobs, mostly government, as most of us, and then they now retired, and they are now civils, just retirees doing stuff as it comes to them. That's one. But somebody can actually say, you know what, I'm retiring from paid employment and I want to invest heavily as a private investor and support startups, and that's how the person is going to make their own money, So it's dynamic to each person. We just need to be clear what it is we want to define for ourselves as our own retirement and work towards it.
Awesome. Okay, look at that. All right. Okay, so thank you so much for that, Davida. Ibukun, are there any peculiarities around retirement planning for women? Now that we've established what retirement planning itself is, knowing that it's unique to each woman's journey, each person's, journey, are there any peculiarities at all, around retirement planning for women, Ibukun? Hello, Ibukun, are you there?
Okay. First of all, I just want to say, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes. That's right.
Yes, we can.
First of all, I'd like to say that Davida is just spot on with her definition, and I was really excited when she said it's really not about your age, because we kind of have it we've kind of misconstrued what it means. It might not necessarily be about you getting up to a certain age before you so decide to retire. And from my own experience with women, I started to research more about this retirement thing at sometime in 2018, 2019, because we were trying to look for products that would efficiently serve women. And my greatest astonishment was that the private sector was more represented in terms of the number of people who had retirement plans. And it was staggering to find out, like, out of the 82 million number of people, okay, who were under paid employment, it was only 10% of them who had some form of pension plan or an RSA as it's called. And I was particularly crushed to find out that of that number, 3.7 thereabouts were workers from the private sector. And out of that 3.7, it was only 906 women who had pensions plans or some form of paid employment or some form of RSA. And it was amazing for me, because I couldn't understand it. I just didn't get it, that what was going on. And so I had to start doing a lot of research about the financial retirement planning and, asking a lot of questions. And good enough, I came up with some good answers from research. I'll just share three. One of the biggest peculiarities for women is the socio-cultural factor, particularly for women. The way we've been raised, the way we've been brought up, the things they've told us about money, how to show up, in terms of taking credit for good work done, in terms of negotiating for a raise. These are things that actually affect women's retirement planning, because if you do not have enough earnings, if you do not have enough incomes, you are not going to take that step to say you want to do this. And when you have reduced incomes, it's not good. So what I've found out is that a lot of these things, it in turn affects the kind of decisions we take about retirement financial planning, because our money mindset, I spoke about money mindset and money beliefs, were not particularly taught to us. It was caught. And so we grow up with that, and this money mindset affects your behaviors, and it could leave you with defeat. So because of that, we do not necessarily take those steps to help us plan retirement. The second reason is that women are not saving enough. Now, from my experience with women, they put about 90% of their income back into their families, and that can be really difficult. Okay, when you earn like maybe 100,000 and 90,000 is going into the family. I mean, what is left for you? What are you going to do? So it can be really difficult. And based on that, they rely more on their spouse, and culture too. The social cultural factor makes us think that the way we define a man is his ability to provide for his family. So if a man, we now imbibe and adopt it that if you can't take care of everything, I mean, you should have enough money for everybody. If you can't take care of everything, then let me just rely on this man to do all of that. And then the man dies. And when a woman's spouses die, our income steadily declines. And if it declines, I can't even begin to tell you the number of horrendous stories, okay? Real life stories. People I encounter who have lost their husbands, and they cannot take one financial decision on their own, So that's the second reason. The third reason is that a lot of women, and I won't say it's particularly for women, I think a lot of people, both men and women, do not understand financial retirement planning. They do not even understand the basic. They feel it's something abstract, it's something mundane, it's something out of there that's not interesting. So they don't even try to understand it. They feel like it's a lot of numbers, it's a lot of money that involves me planning, and I can't even get into this. So they keep postponing it. I have time, I'm young. I have time, I'm young. I have time, I'm young. And then they're really not thinking about it. I mean, there's an aspect of it that just involves thinking, taking retrospection and saying, what is my life going to look like 20 or 30 years from now? and you don't, people are not even paying attention to it because they feel they're young. Newsflash, by 2030, Africa has 1 billion to 1.5 billion people who are between the ages of 60 and 65. And people are going to fall in that category, and they're going to start finding out that I haven't done enough for myself. So let me just stop there.
Thank you, Ibukun.
Right,
thank you so much. But just a quick one, just before you stop there, you had mentioned that you know, a lot of women, it looks like retirement planning or even financial education in most cases seem like a nuclear war that, you know, women don't want to possibly participate in, and all of that. So just before I go to Davida, when then, or how, or what age, or at what stage in life is it appropriate for women especially to start, you know, retirement planning actively? Ibukun, did you get that?
Okay, sorry, it froze for a while. I'm sorry, my network is bad. I keep changing it and I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, so I was just asking, like,
when it comes to age.
Yes. Go ahead, please. You got the question.
So when it comes to age, and this is a really dicey question, but I'm gonna answer it this way. I can't say there is a perfect age, okay? But the sooner you start, the better, because the older you grow, the more difficult it is to handle. And this is why I'm gonna say so. When I was speaking, I was laying a foundation for how we define men and how we think that we believe that they should take over our finances. And then we grow up with that thinking, oh, the man will take care of me. Newsflash, the income in an household, the income of a man in an household is not enough to take care of that household. And that's why a lot of women, okay, it's not because they enjoy business so much, it's because they need to support their husbands to boost up the income, okay? And some of their husbands do not believe they should go into paid employment. Trust me, I've researched this and I have the figures, so I'm not just speaking from my head. So what a lot of people are doing is they are living off other people and think it's gonna go on like that without giving it some thought. So I won't say that there's a perfect age. Just like Davida said, retirement is really about your unique preferences, your lifestyle choices, and your financial security. So for example, somebody like Elon Musk, I can't remember how old is he for the life of me, but he can decide today that I want to retire, and he's good. He's done so much for himself. It's not because he has gotten to a certain age. It's probably because of what he has done, his financial security, his lifestyle choices. And that is why I'm going to put it back to you. That what is your lifestyle choice? Do you want to live a decent lifestyle, or you want to live a luxurious lifestyle, or you just want to be comfortable, okay? Now that will determine how much you're going to have to raise. The sooner you start, the better. So I would say the moment you start, I don't even know. For me right now, I'm trying to lay a foundation for my children, okay? And that's why I said it's difficult to put an age. I'm already doing some trust, some things for them, so that can give them some form of edge, some form of leverage to get ahead. And that in itself has the propensity to change their lives if I continue with it and I'm consistent about it, because I could decide to create a trust. I could have a fund, I could have an emergency fund or something for them that would help them. And so for them, I've already started building something for them from a tender age, from 7-year-old, from 8-year-old, and then I start to teach them about money. So it's really, that's why I say it's really not about the age. Let's say your time, your advantage, the opportunities you have, the knowledge you have, and maybe the parents, because some of the people in my circles have leverage because of what their parents were able to do for them when they were younger. So I would say there's a particular age, but the sooner you start, the better. It's easier.
However, your first job.
Yeah, people could start early and then squander it, but it really starts from your first job. And there are stages to it, which I can't even go into right now. In my own, I can't even go into right now, but there are stages to it, from one stage to the other, and then you keep doing it. And I'm sure Davida will do justice a whole lot more to that.
Sure, thank you so much, Ibukun. Carol says our math teachers in those days made numbers seem so abstract. So many people naturally run away from the numbers. I can relate, Carol. I can relate. Muibat says one day you're in your 20s, fresh from school, and just started working. Boom, you're a few years to retirement. It happens so fast, and I think that's the reality. I mean, it happens really, really fast. And you're wondering what happened between, that between 16 and 60, so to say, right? What happened? So we've just got to be conscious and start early.
That's
the key word. So, Davida, I've got a question here, and I want to believe that I'm speaking on behalf of a handful of women on this call. If I am, please, feel free to, reinforce that in the comments section. As entrepreneurs, okay, I think a lot of people or a lot of women assume, or maybe it's just very convenient when you're earning a fixed amount. When you are in paid employment, it's easier to put something away because this is what I get. So I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners who typically have regular monthly or annual income struggle with planning for retirement. How can women entrepreneurs or business owners go about financial planning towards retirement, Davida?
Okay. Thank you very much, Lakpe. And Ibukun has just been pressing my Momu button all through her speech. And maybe before I answer that, there's a comment that Ibukun made that struck home really, really clearly to me. And one of the reasons why I like sessions like this is because it gives everybody an opportunity to realize that even those of us in financial services, we're just as human as everybody else. And that an instructive part of the journey is that we can find our mistakes, we can admit them, and we can correct them. So it's not mystical, and nobody should feel like these people that are talking, or at least I, Davida, that is sitting here as a wealth manager, that I have it all lined up, all my ducks lined up in a row. And so I'm going to give a very personal experience. And it spoke to something Ibukun said, where she said that we're working, earning decently, but we're doing so many things with our money, and all of a sudden we show up at some point and there is nothing to show for it. So in 2016, Solape, can I go ahead? I have time, right? I can digress a little bit.
Yes, go ahead, Davida.
Hello?
Go ahead, Davida, okay. Please.
In 2016, I had hit 10. All right. 2016, I had hit 10 years in my career. I worked for Stanbic, so I'm decently paid. My salary comes on a particular day. I don't have to pray and fast about it. It comes like clockwork. I am fortunate to work in that type of organization. And on the outside, everything appeared well. But just like 1,000,001 Nigerians who earn, there are all manners of other underlying responsibilities, that as you're earning your income, you are sorting out all manners of things. It doesn't matter whether you're the first, last, middle child, there are always bills to pay in an African environment. 2016, I took stock of myself and I said to myself, one, I had depleted, would say, they have 1 million in their account and they'll be shouting, I'm broke, I'm broke. When I have nothing in my account is when I shout, I'm broke. So I had literally exhausted my savings. I was in debt, and I was still working. Everything appeared okay. But I settled down and said to myself, Davida, you've hit 10 years in career and you literally have nothing to show for it. This is the reality of the average employee. still living in a rented apartment, still doing this, still doing that, still just hustling and going, you know. And with the pace of life, especially for those of us in Lagos, everything is moving so quickly, so fast. You barely have enough time to stop and drink a glass of water, you know. But it took me looking at my life, and people that know me know that I am not frivolous, not in least. I'm not frivolous. If you see me purchase something that looks expensive, know that I worked towards it. But I was not balancing the family responsibilities, the people that I wanted to help. You know, there was just that thing of, you know, you want to give, you're supporting this person, supporting that person, without taking care of yourself. And once I assessed that situation, I told myself, okay, I have technically used the first 10 years of my working life to sort out everybody else around me, to make sure that if this one calls or that one, nobody technically can say that they haven't gotten some largesse from me. And then I drew a line and said that the minute I finish paying down this loan and all that, the next 10 years will be all about me. Now, it may not happen like that for everybody. And remember, God's so good, you know, I have a structure in place. I work somewhere decent, and I have been very, very aggressive about and determined about it. So I was able to turn things around, and I believe I'm firmly on the right path. For other ladies, it might not necessarily work out like that. Now, back to your question, what can ladies, women do to make sure that they are on the right path towards planning for retirement? There's no way to dance around this. So another thing Solape mentioned, another thing Ibukun mentioned was the money mindset. First things first, you need to give yourself permission as a female that you are worthy and you deserve to have your own money. You must give yourself that permission.
Thank you, sister.
Remember, many years ago, many years ago, we used to say something that, you know, sounded so humble and pious, but the flip side was that it put us down. And we used to pray, and it's not a bad prayer, but it was coming from the wrong place, in my opinion. We used to pray that God should just make our husbands, spouses, boyfriends, whatever male figure there was in our lives, to be more successful than we were. As if we were not worthy of being more successful. So first of all, you need to give yourself permission that, I can actually be rich, I can actually own this, I can actually be out of debt, I can actually have the retirement I desire. You must change your mind. You must expose your mind to success and positivity. God bless Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. I mean, everybody's singing her praises. She's breaking barriers on our behalf, and so many other ladies around us. I mean, we're on Sholape's platform. She's broken a barrier for us. Ibukun is breaking barriers for us. You know, there are so many women. Give yourself permission. You deserve in your little corner, if you have chosen to have a little corner, shine as bright as you want. Now, the other thing is, somebody put, I think Carol said something about math teachers made it hard, and, you know, they would always stand with a cane. I agree. I did not like math. If anybody knew me, they would never know that I would be in financial services. I never thought I would be in financial services, but maybe I like money. So somehow I found myself in financial services. If you don't know any other number, it's not so much about being able to quote ROI of this, 300 basis points of that, a margin of this. Leave all that. Just know your own numbers. Your bank account, understand it. Understand your money. You see, when you have paid attention to, if you can pull your statement of accounts for 3 months, 6 months, it will tell you a story of yourself that you probably never thought. You probably thought you were very efficient with money, and it's possible your bank account may confirm that to you, or your bank account statement may actually reveal otherwise for you. So you will want to take a look at that, because you will put your money where you want to be. We are where we are today because of the financial choices we made in the past. And if we want to be somewhere better tomorrow, it's the choices we're making today. So the only way is to set up a structure. It's not going to happen magically. It's not going to just show up one day. It's a bonus if and only if the significant other in your life is as open-minded and as supportive to your independence as you are to yourself. But you know, if you put yourself down, they can't help but join you in doing that. If you lift yourself up, if they cannot join and lift you up, then they'll stand to the side. At least you know what's going on. So you must be deliberate about your budgets. That's just a big fancy word that people in financial services we like to throw around. You know, federal government of Nigeria, budget one thing, budget the other thing, and all that. It's not hard. Your budget is very simple. The money that you make, maybe from your salary, dividends, if you have a house you rent out, the rent, profits from your business, or returns from maybe people did some investment, you and your friends, and they're sharing the profits. All those things are income. The other thing you do on a budget is you outline all your expenses. That's simple. That's your budget for you. The separation, the subtraction.
So basically, Davida, I'm so sorry. What you're saying in essence is that regardless of if your income is periodic, monthly, you know, or erratic, if I can use that word, based on your business, you can certainly plan your retirement. Right. Once you have a good idea,
absolutely,
a good knowledge of what your income flow is like. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Davida. That was a very head-popping.
Absolutely.
I heard so many things. Give yourself permission. Stop holding yourself back. You know, all these things, they stemmed from even the prayers our mothers used to, you know, you will marry a governor. You will, you know, be the first lady. You will, you know, and you're wondering, okay, what about me being?
My mother still prays such prayers.
What did you say, Davida?
My mother still prays such prayers.
She still does.
I will marry a rich man, and I agree with her because I'm rich. I'm rich, so it only makes sense that I marry my type.
Exactly. At least. So
her prayer is coming from somewhere else.
Actually, so give yourself permission. If you're just joining us, my name is Solape Akinpelu from HerVest, and we typically have these discussions monthly around women, finance. We gather around, we discuss finance. We discuss really hard. We talk about hard conversations, how it shapes the lives, how it helps us get better, so that we can do better with our finance now and later in life. So today we are talking about retirement planning for women, and we have Davida Echetabu from Stanbic and Ibukun Omololu, who is the immediate past head at One Woman, who is a gender parity expert, and they've been distilling and demystifying retirement planning for women. Thank you so much for joining us. We encourage that you drop your questions in the comment box and we'll get to them shortly. I have another question for you, and that's for you, Ibukun. And this one is quite sensitive, but you know, it's because I've read so much about it. It's research backed. It's research backed. So multiple studies have shown that women outlive men with an average of say 5 to 8 years. So if the chances of post-retirement years are longer for women, based on that research, I mean, so maybe it goes back to questions that we discussed before, and you know, so I expect that, you know, this one would be straight on because we've actually touched around this before. So when is the best time? Are we saying that it is then important that women even take retirement planning even more important than men based on this research? And then how can, all things being equal, right, how can women be more intentional about their retirement planning based on these studies? Because what that means is that we've probably got, you know, some few years to play in the post-retirement age. What do you think, Ibukun? Hi, Ibukun, are you there?
I think she left the room.
Oh, okay. So Davida, can you help with that while we wait for Ibukun?
Okay, I can speak to that. Absolutely, I can speak to that.
Thank you.
So even in the pension law, the how I put it, when we're running computations, mortality age for men and women, men targeted at 82, women at 84. So fundamentally, women outlive, you know, men. Let me draw a direct parallel to my family. My father passed on in 2003. My mother is still alive right now. So that just lends credence to, you know, the need for females to really pay attention, especially in our cultural environment. You know, let's just all be real and be frank here. Leave this English we're speaking and that we're in Lagos and we wear heels and stilettos and slap on some red lipstick and go to work. When it comes down to it, we are often at a disadvantage where we are not, to some significant degree, financially solid at the point where our male spouses are no longer available. Things go downhill very quickly, very fast, like boom, like there was never a life before that hardship. It is, I do not know why we are like that, but it just seems to be like that. Now, a female who has her own money, trust me, when I'm a Christian, so you will bear with me if you hear me swing in and out or throw God in here. And there's a reason why the Bible says money is a defense. Even in my normal affairs of life, as I am as an employee, but because I hold some, whatever little that sum may be, there's very little that anybody in the family, so to speak, can push me around because I'm holding my own. Now, women in particular, we are naturally emotional beings. And we often, because of the background we've come from, where we have been trained to be dependent on a male, you know, we have to literally fight our way, our own barricades. Some of them self-inflicted, some of them society-inflicted, you know, to make sure that in the case of any eventuality, calling it as it is, death of our spouses, that you are able to stand to some significant degree for yourself, and where you have children, for your children. Now,
go ahead, Davida. We're going to round up.
I often paint this picture. When, or should I finish up?
Yes, please, go ahead.
And, you know, with pension industry, you can't help but see scenarios play out in front of you. And I have seen scenarios, and it flips both ways, but because we are talking about it from the female perspective, I've seen scenarios where a spouse, a male, passed on. The first time we saw the lady, she came and she looked like a bride, a woman, you could tell that, she's all right. But this major change. It showed the stress and the pressure and how life was no longer as she previously knew it. And we don't need to sit down to have a town meeting to find out what happened. We know that she was fighting all manners of battles with young children involved. And remember, she was coming to my office, so it means she was coming to work on getting access to his funds in order to keep them going, which is not a bad thing. Which is not a bad thing. But if you have your own money, you have first of all, set a boundary that no crazy person on the outside can come and push you around and dictate nonsense to you. So back to you, Solape.
Thank you so much, Davida. Personally, I'm having some head slapping moments here, and that's why, you know, like they say, you never know what you don't know. So never assume that you know it all. Actually, yes, even as you know, people in financial services, I've seen people who still do not know, you know, that much about these issues. Thank you so much. So I'll quickly just tie it back, Davida, to you know, the pension evolution or pension transition in Nigeria. Now we know that it's heavily regulated for good reasons, actually. And so, you know, catching up with the regulations could be Herculean, especially for many participants here. Recall that, you know, we have more men showing interest in, you know, conversations like this, which is why we usually gather around to discuss these things. So even if anyone doesn't take anything away from here, which I believe that all of us that have been on this call for the past 46 minutes would have held on to a lot, Davida, kindly help summarize the pension evolution in Nigeria. That is, you know, the word pension itself, for a lot of people, it triggers very strong emotions and reactions for different generations. So you have the generation that feel like, okay, they were never given their pension as a when due, or some people who are still trying to get it out, or some people whose companies, government, public or private sector, you know, folded up. So it's quite emotional. So just help summarize the pension evolution, how it is, how it affects us, what we should know. And I encourage listeners, participants, you know, from here to drop actual questions while Davida takes this on so that we can run follow-up questions later. Thank you, Davida. Over to you.
All right, thanks, Solape. Now, very simply put, pension has always been there in some degree, be it from our parents' generations where it was mostly civil servants. Most parents were government workers, either federal, state, you know, government workers, self-funded, federal ministry of something, or a teacher in Lagos State and all that. And at that time, pension was totally controlled by the government, by the employer, you know. So depending on, you know, the length of service, the grade level, the step, there would be a computation. And at the end of their service, when they retire, they're meant to get some gratuity and then be put on a pension, monthly pension payment. And then periodically, they would go for verification to confirm they're still alive, they're still well, and all that. But as we all are pretty aware, the issue of controls was lacking in that arrangement. And so we all remember vividly, if you didn't see it personally in your family or in a close family to yours, you would have seen it on TV where pensioners would queue and people would slump, you know, and years after they retired, they hadn't gotten any benefits. And it was really, really a hot mess and a disaster. My father was a federal civil servant and my mother was a state civil servant. And for the diversified how pensions and redefined how pensions operate in Nigeria. So we have the pension fund administrators. Stanbic IBTC is one of them. We have the 5 of them. Zenith is one, First is one, and I believe Diamond PFC is also one, and there are a few others like that. And then you have the regulator being the National Pension Commission for oversight to make sure that all parties are involved. Now, every organization that has 3 or more, at least 3, staff are all meant to provide pensions, set up pension payments, and it's contributory. It's no longer the responsibility of only the employer or only the government. It's now a case of my employer contributes 10%, I contribute 8% from my monthly income, and it is remitted to my pension fund administrator. When payments are being made, we have the regulator monitoring, and that way there's been a separation of power so that what happened in the past doesn't repeat itself. So PFAs cannot, go shopping with the money, neither can the PFCs go shopping with the money, and neither can, the government, as the case may be, go shopping with the money. There are many checks and balances, and our clients, you and I, because I'm also a client, you and I have access to ask questions. When you have your pension account with Stanbic, you are able to log in online. You can monitor, you can see when last your employer paid. When your money gets remitted, you get a text message from your PFA. So right now, I may not have the entire industry statistics, but what I will share with you hopefully should boost some confidence in people. So for instance, has paid over 800 billion to retirees on our records. Every month we pay over 62,000 retirees over 5.6 billion every month, like clockwork. That is a lot of money for an institution to keep pushing out consistently on a monthly basis without fail. And it is automated. Nobody needs to come and queue in any funny place. Their bank accounts you have provided to us is where the monies will be paid into between the 15th and 20th of each month. So with the transition from how it used to be in the past, I believe that there's been a lot of progress. Retirees are in a far better place now, under this new pension scheme, to make sure that they do get their monies in good time. I would also like to say at this point that pension is very important, but between you and me, it's not enough for that retirement that you want to. It won't be enough. So we must all do something more. We must think bigger, plan for who are you collaborating with, who are you partnering with. This is the era of, it's no longer an era of one-man business. You must have strong collaborative forces to make sure that, you are achieving the retirement you want to get to.
Thank you. So, thank you so much, Davida.
Thank you. I think I've summarized it.
It's not sufficient. We've got to have some more, and quite a few people are dropping, a few women, are dropping questions, contributions here. I'd quickly like to ask this, just as a joint question to the one we threw out before. In the case of being in between jobs, can one access pension? Then is it recommended? What do you think? What do you say to that?
Okay, so there's a provision in the law that says that where you have left employment, and when I say left employment, it could be out of your voluntary decision because you want to go in and set up your own business. You really want to go into your business, your passion, Or it could be that maybe the organization where you once worked went through tough times and they had to right size and you were caught in the middle of it. After 4 months of not getting another job, another paid job, you can actually balance in your account. And that is how will I put it? A soft landing in the spirit of the law to help you, tide through a rough patch in life. But that can happen only once in a lifetime. So where somebody has left employment and applied, for that 25%, once, you can't come back for it again. The next time you come back to apply would be after you have hit 50 and you have retired. So yes, you can apply. How do I say this? There is no right or wrong time to apply for the 25% when you are out of work. If you need the 25% because you're in dire straits, then by all means access it. You saved for it, it's your funds. If you need it to, pump in some capital into your business, your buying and selling, or your endeavor, by all means access it. And it's legal, it's your right. You can do that when you have stopped working, but not while you are still working. When you are still in employment and your pension is being paid and you're earning a salary, you cannot access your pension account.
Thank you, Davida. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. If you're just joining in, I noticed we've got some people who just joined in. It's still a good time. We have about 35 minutes before we round this up, so we can still share with people to come take away lessons from here. My name is Solape Akinpelu, and we're discussing retirement planning for women on this session, by HerVest. For people who are just joining us for the first time, we typically have conversations like this every month, brought to you by HerVest. What is HerVest, by the way? We are an inclusive financial platform for underserved and excluded women. And how do we do this? We achieve this through women-focused financial products as savings, impact investment, and credit. Credit particularly for smallholder female farmers. To know more about us, please feel free to visit us at www.hervest.ng. My colleagues will drop that in the chat box, and then, to get on a platform, we'll also drop the download link. We are available on Android and iOS. So join the community of winning women, financially independent women. That's what we are about, and that's why we have these conversations right here on HerVest. Today with us this evening, we've got Davida Echetabu, Regional Wealth Manager from Stanbic Pensions, who had been illuminating a lot for us, and also Ibukun Omololu. And I'm just going to ask Ibukun the next questions. Still around retirement planning for women, Ibukun, what are the biggest financial risks one may face when planning at retirement, and how best can women avoid such? Over to you, Ibukun.
Hi, hello, thank you for having me back. It's been such an enlightening experience. Davida, you keep blowing my mind with all the things you're saying. It's like you literally just took thoughts from my head. So to answer your question, Sholakwe, I think it's important for people to know that even with the best laid retirement plans, it can fail. It can fail because of unexpected events and because there are a lot of risk. And most of the time, these risks are not particularly in our hands, especially financial risk. It's really out of our control. But the truth of the matter is we need to know it. We still need to understand it so that we can mitigate that risk as much as possible. So off the top of my head, I would say, and it's no particular order, I'll just say a few. First of all, it would be inflation. And right now, inflation is at an all-time high at almost 17.3 the last time I checked. And that could really impact on your savings and what you've put out and what you've been saving in the pensions in your RSA account as well, because when interest rates and inflation and everything is not, it's really not jiving, you kind of wonder, okay, what am I going to do? Because the implication is this: if the interest rate drops, the amount you've been saving in the bank you will have to save more to be able to get more revenue from it. So now I think the interest rate in banks is like maybe 1%. Why am I? That's even too far. Some 2-3 years ago, it was at but now the amount of money you have put in, maybe 100,000, okay, maybe let's say even 10% for fixed deposits, okay, and you'll be able to get maybe 10,000 from that 100,000 you put it. Right now, you can't get that. It has gone down. So even for you to get a 10% from what you used to get back in this, you have to put in more money. And all these things are affected by, you know, regulatory policies from the government, from CBN, from so many places. So, and you really do not have control over that. So what you can do basically is to make sure that you're saving as much as you can. You have an insurance, and you are also well taken care of. Volatility. And that's why a lot of people have been, you know, downloading Babu some more and trying to invest in other markets, which is really a good strategy, okay? Because right now, not all the stocks in Nigeria are great. Let's be real with ourselves, including some in banking. And you really need to tell yourself some hard truths and look at it and say, what else can I do? So would you want to invest in companies abroad as well? Do you want to buy stocks in companies? And sadly, most of those nice companies to invest in right now are really high. So, but be that as it may, there are other opportunities that could come. So stock market volatility is another one. The other would be if you're bankrupt, if your pension provider goes bankrupt. And good enough, I think Nigeria has taken some really good steps to make sure that the pension funds contributors and the PFAs themselves are well regulated, so that none of them is going into solvency, really. And that's good to know. I mean, I use IBTC as well, coincidentally, and I've been using them for years. And I am so happy with the kind of services they've been given, the statements they provide and all. The other aspect I would say is that, and Davida touched on that, but a lot of women really do not take note of it, is to follow up with the statements, to follow up with your contributory scheme and your plan. Most of the time when we start working, a lot of us we open our accounts with our maiden names, and then we do not remember to go and change it. We do not remember to put in the name of the beneficiary, not next of kin, because there's a difference. There's a difference. And so we do not update all of those things. And it's just important that you actually do that, because really anything can happen. You mentioned financial parts, and these are really financial parts, but the non-financial parts, which I think are also big, and I'm just going to mention, is basically life, okay? And I'll say this because life, pensions and all the things we're talking about would not exist in the first place if there was no life. So it is somebody who is totally okay and somebody who just doesn't drop dead that can also do all of this. And so it's important somewhere at the back of your mind that as you're doing this, you're also making sure that you're putting other things in place, making sure that your information is correct, making sure that you have some form of insurance, making sure that you have a will, because you do not want to stash up all this amount of money and something happens to you, which is another major risk, or something happens to your husband and you cannot access it, which was the story Davida spoke about. A lot of us do not even know how to access funds if something happens to our spouse from the bank, talk more of pensions. So it's just important that you put all of these things in place. It's really, really important. Linking to that would be the risk of job loss as well, because like a lot of people have said here, I've seen people saying they took, funds from the pension funds when they were out of work. You never can tell what could happen to your job tomorrow. You never can tell if the company could go down, and that could just be another risk to your pension plan, okay? Because once there's no job, there's nothing going into that plan, except maybe you have income coming from a business, or you have individual savings, which is totally different from pensions, and which could be also other areas that income could be coming in for you. So let me just stop at that, because I feel like I've said a lot.
Thank you, Ibukun. Thank you so much. So I'll quickly just ask, I think, about the last question just before we go into the questions, because we have quite a lot of them, and I really want us to talk about them this evening before we round off. So,
okay.
And don't laugh at this, Davida. Promise me you not laugh at me. Ibukun, promise me. Do you both agree that children
Okay,
are
let me laugh
retirement
ahead.
plans? Do you both agree that children are retirement plans?
No. No.
Davida, you promise you won't laugh.
In Nigeria?
No.
I started laughing before you asked.
So let's say children.
I agree with you, because children shouldn't be the retirement plan.
Okay.
But in Nigeria, break that jinx, we will find ourselves, unfortunately, in that scenario, because, but they didn't set up solid enough structures, or life happened, you know, and we would not sit back and watch our parents go hungry or homeless, and so we became their plans. And we should improve on that, you know, extra job, so that we avoid that same thing as a generational treadmill, where, you know, just cycling away on the spot. So children shouldn't be pension plans, no.
Thank you, Davida. Ibukun, what do you say?
Can you hear me?
So, yes. So I would say that no, and the reason why I say this is that it's nice if your children so desire that they want to take care of you, or maybe even your husband, okay? Because there's some husbands who say they want to, but, and Davida already spoke about it, you need to take financial responsibility for yourself, because if anything happens tomorrow, you have to establish that financial dependence, okay? If anything happens tomorrow and you cannot take a financial decision on your own, look, it's the worst thing that can be. I've seen vulnerable, may God not make you a vulnerable woman in Nigeria. I have seen vulnerable women. This thing is my life. I've seen vulnerable women who cannot take one decision because the man died, and they could not, they are stuck. There were children. And I mean, it gets to me so much, because I'm like, God, how did you get here? How? Educated, beautiful, sound, enlightened women who cannot, it's so sad. I get so raked up each time somebody talks about this. Look, I know a story where the children, their father was going to die. He had some form of disease, and then he willed the property to them. But somehow he survived. Trust me, they didn't let him inside the house.
No
You
way.
might wonder that what kind of children are they? It will shock you how things change. Okay, may God grant us all good children, but you never make your children your financial plans. If I have two boys, if they decide to marry tomorrow, and for some reason their wife say, this woman cannot come and stay with you, there's nothing I can do about it. So please, take ownership for your life. The God factor is there, where providence is there, and when you know you take care of your children. But I'm sick and tired of seeing women who are not taking responsibility, or, you know, just setting their priorities right, and then at the end of the day, they are begging. Look, the face of poverty in the world is constantly becoming feminine.
Yeah.
You want to see a poor person, they put the face of a Black woman crying. And I'm just like, hell no, this shouldn't be it. There's a way you can plan with your partner and be financially responsible. There's a way you can have your own money, okay? And there's no trouble in the house. There are ways. It's just for us to get wisdom, be tactical about it, and make those plans.
Thank you, Ibukun. Thank you, Ibukun. Thank you so much. I've got. Thank you, Ibukun. Thank you. I mean, I was reading and saw that the world's most chronic no, the world's chronically hungry demography is made up of women, right? So when you said that the face of poverty is the face of a Black African woman, I mean, that hit home, And what we are saying is that you can be empowered with knowledge. Knowledge itself is power. Please, let's be empowered. Ask questions. We have, great women in our community. Davida, men is in our community. Ibukun had been having conversation all week long now. You can latch on to these enlightened women. Nobody knows it all, but these are women who are dedicated, to gaining more knowledge and, sharing freely. You can see Davida, she's been vulnerable with us on this call. And I'm not surprised. This is how we have it month in, month out. Bukola Adisa was here last month. Yes, Bukola Adisa alongside Bode Abifari, and they were quite vulnerable, share. So what it means is that we just need to lean in more and do better by ourselves, by our finances, by our lives. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Davida. Thank you so much, Ibukun. So we'll quickly go into the questions now. We have quite a few of them here. Oh my God, see emojis for my panelists. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much for being giving. That's quite gracious of you. So I'll take a question quickly. Okay, this is Victoria Ajayi, VAA. Victoria, by the way, is an advisory board member at HerVest. It's a great pleasure having you here this evening, ma'am. So Victoria is asking, she says, are we saying a housewife who doesn't have a registered business with the CAC but wants to contribute to a private pension cannot do so? Could you quickly tend to that, Davida? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Thanks for that. I had attempted answering her on the chat, but I'll just voice over it now. So we have what we call the RSA, and then we also have a sub-scheme called micropension. Under micropension, it's made more for the informal sector. It's made more for the informal, sector, one-man businesses, people that probably have long-serving domestic staff and you want to put them on it, while the pension, the main pension scheme, as you know it, that's the one that you and I are on, is a stricter. Essentially, the reason why you and I can do pension is because our employers are registered with CAC. They have tax identification. So it's properly structured to avoid money laundering. And that's a big deal. So the regulations regarding contributions of money, an individual can just stroll in and, dump money into the pension account. It won't work. There are processes to it. Now with the micro pension, it's a bit more, flexible, that allows, maybe taxi drivers association, but there must still be some body, some association. If not, it opens up this clean money to being used as a laundry channel. So a housewife can't just say, you know what, I want to transfer money direct like that. A housewife in that sense I would personally recommend that she meets with an institution, a financial institution. HerVest is, is one of such. I mean, she gathered us here for this purpose, to have a conversation with HerVest and say, okay, you know what, this is what they are trying to, achieve, and HerVest would, provide the support. And where HerVest probably doesn't have what that lady wants, HerVest can recommend her to other places, because this is women supporting women. It's not about, how it will be us. It's, the world is just easier if everybody's making progress, so that's what I can say clearly to that. Individuals, housewives, house husbands can't just do pension like that. It needs to come from a structured employer so we can trace source of funds. That's very critical.
Thank you.
to this.
Thank you. So another question, and this is from Esther. Esther says, for a civil servant in their 20s, aside from the government contributory pension scheme, what other practical steps would you recommend they take to adequately plan for their retirement? So it isn't even for, I've been seeing, we have many questions, you know, people talking about additional schemes. What can they do? What do you recommend?
Okay, so I would recommend a few things. I, for one, apart from the mandatory pension that my employer does, that's my own contribution and their own contribution, I also ask them to deduct an extra from my salary as voluntary contributions. And my mindset is that I am doing that because I want to make sure that when I do retire, I have something more than, you know, what is meant by law for me to get, because I'm putting away something. And in doing that, I enjoy tax benefits, you know, because pension funds are pre-tax. So your employer typically would take it out and remit it before they apply the payee tax on a pay-as-you-go tax, you know, to your income. There are opportunities to withdraw it before retirement, but you would not get that tax benefit. So I do a little bit of that, just every little bit I can do by the side to make sure. Recall I said that pension is just an aspect of your retirement planning. If you know you are entrepreneurial in stage and you can sell sand to the Arabians or ice to the Eskimos, then start doing that. Start doing that. Find something that you can sell, provide a solution to people around you. You don't have to leave your paid employment to do that at the beginning. Just start. Even if you're making only 5,000 extra, that 5,000 is more than you didn't have before. Do it. You know, wherever it is that you can cut out frivolities. So there are people who like to take their children every Sunday after church, they stop at the Pizza Hut or they stop at ice cream parlors. You may want to adjust that to maybe once a month. You'll be surprised how much you save. You know, little things like if you have lived abroad, you will know that when you leave one room, you switch off the light right after you. If you leave the living room, switch off the light. You know, you will start taking deliberate steps. You would learn how to cook and compartmentalize your eating, you know. So all the things I'm saying are not...
Even here now, we are switching off everything. I
Yes.
With the new tariff, everyone is switching off.
Everybody is switching off.
So I've got another question. Sorry, Davida, sure. I just want us to take this question.
No,
we have about 13 minutes left. And this is from Carol. Carol says, what actions can we take away from here to start intentionally working towards our retirement? Since you said pension is not enough. You know, even without saying pension is not enough, especially if you want to maintain this lifestyle, the particular lifestyle that you have now. I know a particular mentor of mine, you know, on the top of his career, and he said, you know what, that if he retires today, based on his current lifestyle for family and all of that, that his pension cannot take him beyond year 2. Newsflash. So really, you know, how do we become intentional towards working? So I've heard you say, you know, extra source of income so that you'll be able to put in any other thing. And Ibukun, I'd really want you to, you know, lean into this as well. Thank you, Davida.
Okay, so essentially, really, you have to plug your holes. There's no need fetching water with a basket. You know, if you are saving money and all you are doing is the money you have saved from your income, use it and buy a Shwebi and do all those things. You're just like running on a treadmill. You're covering 30 kilometers on the same spot, you know. So you need to check out your money blueprint, you know, and unplug those bad habits. You really need to do that. The other thing you can do is find ways of making money. For instance, like I had started, some people used to sew back in the day before they got their jobs. you know, and then they got their jobs and they got lazy. We all get lazy, but it's okay to get lazy and realize that you've gotten lazy. Pick up yourself and start showing, even if it's just lovely sketch you're making. It doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to be the next, you know, Yves Saint Laurent, you know, just whatever little extra you can bring in, it helps. Do a will. Do a will, set up insurance. For most people who are employed, we already have life insurance cover. If you are not employed, set up a life insurance cover for yourself. Set up medical, you know, for yourself. These things look like, you know, far-fetched. It looks like, so I'll just be paying one insurance company money and they'll just be chopping my money and all that. That is what it looks like till the day we ever need them. Then we now realize it was a good thing that we did, you know. And essentially just check your habits. Get in touch with financial institutions. Leave all the, after they have spoken their big English, tell the lady or the gentleman and say, please break it down for me. So if I do this, this is what it means. What does it mean? How does it translate? You must know your risk appetites as well. You know, there's no need going into a business you don't understand what it is they are doing. They have tried to explain to you and you still don't understand it. Don't go into that business. Run away from such. Because if you're putting your money in something, you need to cope with and understand. So I think I should stop here and allow Ibukun to say something. I can always come back and add to it.
Thank you so much. I heard you said wills and then Omololu. Lola, thank you for coming on the call. Lola, you know, who works with the trustee firm, you know, graciously mentioned wills are contestable, really. So you can explore trust, living trust. You know, so Carol, Omolola is on the call. You can talk to Omolola about, you know, all of that. That's why we are here, connecting the dots, unplugging the holes. Yes, Donya Adesanya says Nigerians don't believe in insurance. We need to be educated properly. We'll talk about all of this, and that's why we say that we are here for the financially excluded and financially underwhelmed women. Okay, a lot of us, all of us here, we are digitized, we are on Zoom, right? All of us with our iPads, fancy, red lipstick, like Davida said, but we are still very, very underwhelmed when it comes to financial services. And that's why HerVest is here, trying to fill that gap. And we hope by God, we achieve that one woman at a time. Ibukun, you want to say something? Hello, Ibukun, are you there? Hope I've taken all the questions.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you've taken all the questions because I saw quite a lot of questions, and I think Davida would, it's a lot we addressed to Davida. But just to add to what Davida said, oh gosh, okay, yeah, I got it back. I almost lost my trail of thoughts there. So aside pensions, I mentioned individual savings. It's you can save on your own, okay, and you can automate it. So one of the easy ways to do that is make sure that the moment the money comes into your account, you have automated it. You don't get access to it, because the moment you get access to it, something will happen. There will be one Ashrebi, there will be something shall will come. So you need to automate. Exactly. You need to automate immediately. Exactly. Number two, a lot of people are not thinking about luxury goods, okay? Artworks, okay, are luxury goods that you can sell back and get income from. Women are not investing in gold. I have friends who, when they hit rock bottom, they take out their gold jewelries and they sell. I have a friend who, when she was laid off from work, took out her gold, all her gold jewelries, and sold it. And she made a whooping 3.5 million from the gold and started a business. What we are doing is buying a Ashrebi that we cannot sell back, that will not give us any form of return on investment. So when you're thinking about luxury items that can give you some form of return on investment if something happens tomorrow, those are other areas that you can also look into. The last one I would say is, Davida spoke about it, is business. What can you make creativity, okay, that you can tie into tech? What course can you build? What skill do you have? And for some of you, I'll tell you immediately after we finish this, go back and calculate how much are you worth per hour? How much are you worth per day? How can you start, generating that kind of income for yourself? Okay, maybe through a business, and it could be partnership, it could be through books, it could be digital products. There are so many. We're just not doing the research because there are a whole lot of other things that you can do beyond that. And lastly, properties. Okay, and please be very clear before you do that. But properties are also a very good way to go. And don't limit yourself to Lagos. You can buy properties in other places. Enugu has the highest number of women students. They have 3 universities. Those students who want to live in some places, go and invest in those places. Places with universities, places with high footfall, Kanu, all those places. There are places you can buy that you can resell. Yes, there are properties you can buy. We keep looking at Lagos. Trust me, it won't be like this forever. Okay.
Thank you, Ibukun. So Uzo says, can you continue contributing to your PFA? And I think this is for you, Davida. Can you continue contributing to your PFA if you get a job after you've collected the 25% payment?
Absolutely, yes, you can. Once you get your new job, you usually would go through a recruitment process, hand over your pension account and the name of your PFA to your HR or payroll, and they would automatically continue remitting pensions along with the rest of the other employees over there as well. So yes, you can.
Thank you. And then Ibukun, thank you for talking about automation. One thing we've realized in this financial education, financial journey is that a lot of women, a lot of people find it hard to budget, especially with our peculiar environment where you are paying it forward for so many people at the same time. But Davida shared, a life experience with us. So we encourage automation, and that's what we've done with our platform. You can automate to say, you know what, I get myself, you get your pay 28th or 21st, debit me this particular amount. Okay, I maybe you are in business, I want to be debited every day or every particular day of the week, or so HerVest helps you automate and save towards these goals. Adopt HerVest. My colleagues have dropped our download link and the website link on the chat. Please, we'd love to have you. We'd love to walk this journey with you. You're never alone with HerVest. Another question, even though I know that you'd answered this, but for the sake of other people on the call, how can people access part of their pensions for equity contributions towards mortgages? And who is the fund to pay to them?
Okay, so for now, the National Pension Commission, excuse me, for now, the National Pension Commission has not released the operational guidelines that would enable people use part of their pension savings as equity for home ownership. So when that is all set up, it would be public knowledge, and the steps to take and the institutions that would be pre-qualified would be, communicated to the public.
Okay, thank you. So we have just a few minutes, but can we quickly talk about annuity?
Absolutely.
Okay, please take a shot at it.
All right, so annuity is pension under the insurance business. So in the retirement space, we have your PFAs and you have your insurance companies. The insurance companies offer an annuity while the pension companies offer a program withdrawal, a monthly pension, which is a program withdrawal. They both typically are more or less the same thing. I can tell you right now, sorry if it has gotten dark around me
it's
here.
Okay.
My inverter has finally died, so
okay.
Bear with me.
Thank
you. All right. So when a client retires from active service, the person has his pension RSA with us. The client has the choice of saying, you know what, I will take a program withdrawal under pension, or I will take an annuity under an insurance company. Historically, annuity was more attractive because the insurance companies paid a bit more as a monthly payment than the pension industry or the PFAs would pay as a monthly pension. And the reason for that is simple. It's always about the computation and the risk assets. Now, under annuity, the reason why it's more is because the insurance companies would have computed your money such that they have what is called a guaranteed period and a non-guaranteed period. So if you choose to go to an insurance company for the annuity package, what it means is that for the first 10 years, if anything happens to the clients, like death, which is what we always are referring to at that point, the family, stated in the will, would be able to get the rest of his money, as the balance will be paid to the family, stated in the will or in a letter of administration or predetermined in a trust. But after the guaranteed period, let's say the client passes on in year 11, 15 or whatever, then the family forfeits whatever is left of that money. Whereas in the pension industry, because every period is guaranteed, whether it's the first, 15th, 12th, 20th year, whenever a client passes on, the family can come as the beneficiaries or as stated in a will or trust. They can come and then they will always get given whatever is the balance in the client's RSC. So it's a trade-off. Some people have opted to go for the higher amount in annuity, discounting the possibility that what if, they pass on in year 11, their family will be left with nothing. While others have said, you know what, I'm okay with getting slightly less from, pension, from my PFA, as long as whenever anything happens to me, whatever is left would be handed over to my named beneficiaries. So that's essentially the difference in Nigeria regarding pensions and annuity. I hope that helps.
Yeah, sure, it does. Thank you so much, Davida. Bimbo Komolafe is here applauding and saying, thank you so much, saying that you've been handling our account so efficiently and professionally in the past. Aww. It's a proud moment here. Thank you, Davida. Thank you, Ibukun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, if you have questions, you can email us at hello@hervest.ng and then we'll get it across the panelists. You can follow Davida and Ibukun. Davida, Ibukun, could you please drop your social media handles in the chat box? Yes, please. Thank you for joining in, everyone. We hope it's been an insightful and delightful session this evening, and you're going away with knowledge, not just going away with that knowledge, but and also intention to do better. Okay, Davida, that's it. Davida Echetabu. Thank you, Noye. Thank you, Mabel. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a beautiful evening. It's been quite beautiful in the past. Okay. All right. Let me just drop mine too. It's Solape Akinpelu across all social media platforms.
I need to do that, honestly. I think
yes,
I think on Instagram I have my other fancy funky name somewhere. I'm not even sure what it is.
That's the Davida Echetabu across all. It's simpler that way. Thank you so much, everyone.